Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ben and this is the Smoking Hot Confessions podcast. Hey family, I hope you're well wherever you are and you got that thin blue smoke rolling. This episode is part of my US road trip series where I travel through several states competing at the Houston World's Barbecue Championships and learning as much about barbecue as possible. The trip starts in Texas before going across to Louisiana and then up into Arkansas. It was a hell of a trip and I'm so excited to be able to share it with you. Before we get into it, I want to invite you to come join us at the Smoking Hot Confessions community on Facebook. It's a great place to continue the conversation. Also, make sure you get your free copy of my ebook, 27 Lessons Learned from Competition Barbecue. Jump on over to smokinghotconfessions.com/ebooks to get your copy now. Finally, however you listen to this episode, please make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. This will really help me spread that barbecue love. Okie dokie, folks, I have something a little different for you in this episode. This is the first episode of a two-parter where I turn the mic over to Saffron from Bush Cooking to be guest host. Saffron is an expat now living in the US and absolutely kicking butt on the barbecue scene. Most recently, she hosted the NBBQA Conference and Awards in Fort Worth, Texas, where she was also nominated for and won the Best Website category for 2018. She also joined our team in the World's Barbecue Championships in Houston, where she shared her wisdom and knowledge with us in a stunning array of Aussie solidarity. So join us now as we hit the pavement at the Houston Livestock and Rodeo competition and have some very interesting conversations.
This is the internationally awarded Smoking Hot Confessions podcast with your host, Ben Arnott. How long's it been since your last confession?
There's a famous Australian song that says, "From little things, big things grow," and that's certainly true for Morgan, the wizard behind Wyld Smoke BBQ Seasoning. Born and raised in the farming areas of the Brisbane Valley with parents who raised him to uphold the true paddock to plate philosophy, it all started with his mother's recipe for how to make bacon. The Wyld Smoke online shop now sports almost a dozen products, including 2 very exciting new rubs developed in conjunction with top 20 barbecue competition team, the Smokin' Hot Bros. It's a two-parter. There's the Bull Dust Rub, which is a purpose-designed competition brisket rub, and Vinegar X, a finishing dust, which is an Australian first. I've tried them and they are exceptional. To get your hands on some of these masterpieces, head on over to wildsmoke.com.au. That's wild with a Y. WYLDSMOKE.com.au.
This is Saffron from the Houston Livestock and Rodeo Barbecue Competition, and today I'm talking with Joey from B&B Charcoal.
Hello, Saffron. How are you? It's good to see you out here. It's been a little while since I've seen you, since last month, San Antonio Rodeo.
Yeah, I've been spending a bit of time in Texas, but we've got him here today to talk a little bit about B&B Charcoal, actually, which is your main life, really.
That it has become my life. B&B Charcoal is just a small Texas company, which I had been a competition cook for about 16 years, and they were one of my main sponsors. And I jumped in and they asked me to become their sales and marketing director, and I was happy to take the position with them. And the main goal has been trying to brand this brand that's been around since 1961 that no one knew about.
Oh, wow. I had no idea it was so old. Like, I've only heard of it in the last few years.
Yep.
But the last few years, there's been a lot of change, too. You brought some new products in?
Yes. We've increased our product line, and we've tried to focus a little bit more on the quality of product that we put out and, really try to get more of the folks who are enthusiasts involved in here to help promote the product.
Okay. So what sort of enthusiasts are you working with at the moment?
Currently, right now, we have a gentleman you may or may not know, Mo Cason, who's actually out of Des Moines, Iowa. He started with Ponderosa Barbecue. He's had a little bit of fame on Pitmasters and that type of deal. Great guy. He was actually associated one of our brand ambassadors prior to me joining. But he's been a pretty good driving force for us, and one of those guys just everybody loves.
Yeah, Australia loves him. Mo goes down. He does some of the meat stocks every year and runs some classes. So that's great. So what about some people who Australians may not have heard of, some more characters that you're working with?
Right now, we had last year was kind of a crazy year. It was because the brand was relatively new to the public. And not a lot of people knew about it. One of my main goals last year was to really kind of get out there, guerrilla market our company. And so I had the opportunity to roll into places like Memphis in May, the Royal, the Jack. And I went to and put product in some of these teams' hands who I thought would be really good for us. And it wound up, we struck off some really good relationships. So we have guys like the Boar's Night Out guys, Eric and Kendall Adair used to be with them. Now he's also one of our brand ambassadors. But we've got... The gambit is so wide because we try to grasp a little bit of somebody from all parts, from coast to coast, and we've got a lot of great Texas cooks, but nobody knows Texas cooks.
Yeah, I was just listening to some of those events you've been to. So obviously KCBS we've heard about, but I mean there's whole hog in there and competition steak as well. So you're going across multiple sanctioning bodies there.
Yes. What I've found out, just because my background was IBCA cooks forever, you can be the best in the world in IBCA, but outside of Texas, no one knows you. And important for us to grow the brand, we had to go outside of our comfort zone and try to grasp some people who were a little bit more influential in the barbecue game and a little bit more recognizable. And so we've tried to address it as best we can. There's some guys who are really, really great to us because they are great strict brand ambassadors. They used our product. I don't believe in paying teams to use my product. If teams are successful using my product and do a great job on social media, I will go ahead and grab a hold of them and help them in whatever way I can to help them increase what they're doing as far as winning, or if they have a great schedule worked out with it with the product. I try to keep them on that, try to keep them in the products they like. And in turn, I just want a little bit of feedback and for them to talk about my product.
That's excellent. So not only their schedule, I mean, you're one of the few people I know who seems to travel more than me. I mean, I turn up in a state and you're there. Yep. So I want you to talk a little bit about one of the competitions that's on my bucket list. You went to Washington last year where you were cooking with the White House in the background.
Yes.
So what's that event like?
I tell you, that was probably one of the neatest events. That's put on by Giant. It's a huge grocery chain out there. And it was not a market that we were really in. But because, again, Mo Cason was going to this event, our brand ambassador, so we took the advantage, to go ahead and tag along and run with them out there. And it turned out to be a great decision. That's probably one of the neatest events for general public. There's so much stuff for general public to do. The grocery chain actually gets all of their vendors to actually, they all sample. So if you've ever been to a grocery store, you've got hundreds of vendors in there. So there's actually tons of stuff for people to go do. Plus they can go in and try some of the barbecue, and they can talk to, some of these pit masters who are, some of them are very famous. Some of them aren't, but, everyone's got great barbecue.
So I've heard that there's not just competition cooks at that one. They actually bring in some of the more famous restaurants. Is that right?
Yes, they do.
Who's there from that? I think I saw Salt Lick there one year.
Salt Lick's been, but this one is more of a competition as far as they have a competition section and then they have a vendor section.
Okay.
So then they actually, in the vendor section, you'll have, some of the bigger barbecue houses in there. Salt Lick's been, but last year they were not. They mainly focus on, they do more like the barbecue block party in New York and what's the other one that we go to every year, which is the Q in the Lou in St. Louis. Those are the more of the festivals that they kind of do. But again, this was probably in Washington, this was the first one that I went to that I kind of left going, wow, that was just really cool. Myron Mixon was there cooking, and Mo was there. Who else was there? Can't remember. Anyways.
You did a lot of traveling. I'm surprised you remember.
But yes, I do. I travel all over the place. I think we did 23 events last year, and 3 of those might have been in Texas.
So we've talked about all the really big events. Everyone's heard of the Memphis in Mays and everything. But I want you to try and think of what your favorite small event is, and talk to people in Australia. They may not have heard as much about what a true country Texas small community competition is like.
Just kind of a little background, as far as myself, I started cooking about 16 years ago. And when I did, it was, to be real honest, I thought it was a drinking contest. I didn't think it was really a barbecue contest. And it took me about 5 years to really figure out that you could actually produce good food. And it took a long time for us sitting in our seats before we ever got up out of there to get an award or get recognized or anything like that. And after realizing how much money and time and everything else that we've spent, really tried to start honing and trying to really learn the sport. The very first cook-off that I ever cooked was one of our hometown county fair cook-offs. And again, on that very first one, I don't even think I made a single turn-in. Everything, burned everything, and, up all night long, drinking with all the neighbors. Since then, a lot's changed. I don't drink anymore. Probably one of the best choices I made, and it upped my barbecue game a ton. But I still go back to that same cook-off every year because it was my first one. And last year was probably the best we ever did at that cook-off, which we basically reserved grand it last year. When we cooked it originally, there was 13 teams for the very first time. Last year, there was 63 teams. But the skill level has grown so much from then to now. And I think that's no matter where you go. In Texas, it's very common to go to any cook-off. A small cook-off has 30 teams. A large cook-off, which are very common, has 100-plus teams at it. A lot of people nowadays have so much money invested in equipment, in classes and everything else. 2 things have happened. There's some people who do it because they love the sport, and there's some people who do it because, they're trying to get a return on their investment, type of deal. And I think that if you're in it for the return on your investment, you're in it for the totally wrong reason.
Yep.
I, for one, I'm not going to say I'm a purist, but I believe in self-teaching, and I believe in taking information and passing information along to other people. That's the way I learned. My people telling me everything that I did wrong, and I brushed it off, and then I'd go home and do what they told me, and some of it worked. And so from that point, it just kind of helped me develop to where we are today. But first and foremost, the reason I'm in the position where I am right now is because I love barbecue. I love the sport. And to me, it is a sport,
Yeah, you're definitely helping a lot of teams. We're actually doing this interview in the International Village, and you're helping a few of the international teams, and obviously a lot of Australian teams will be listening. If one of them was coming to Texas, what do you think's the one big tip that you'd give them to help them along?
The first thing you need to do is go directly to Lockhart, Texas, and spend a day or 2 eating barbecue and trying to get a grasp on the Texas palate. Then after that, you can kind of play around with flavors and, that type of deal and try to figure out, if you're close. It's very hard to relearn what you already know, but it's very easy to go and taste and try to mimic. And, but like I said, Texas is a whole different experience. We're almost like Australia. We're huge, and it depends on what part of Texas you go to. Barbecue is going to be different.
Yeah, and that's something a lot of people don't realize.
Yep.
There's actually sub-flavor profiles across
yes.
all of Texas.
Yes, there's probably at least 4 to 5 distinct different flavor profiles that you're going to run into, whether you go south, east, west, or anywhere you go, or central Texas. The barbecue you have in Austin is going to be different than Lockhart. It's going to be different than Dallas, different than Houston. And then, of course, if you get down to Laredo, you get, more of a Mexican flair on there. It's a different style of barbecue.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to start to round it up. Let's get back to B&B products.
Yep.
Is there one or two there that you really like that you want to give a tip on?
Yep. Our products are, one of the big things is our products are 100% natural. The base product that we use is an oak product. The oak lump charcoal is just a steady go-to, and you use it for anything. It's just a really nice standard product. Nice, good long burn. Usually you have nice big pieces in there. From that product, we have other products that we make, which would be our briquette, which is also made out of that same material. And then we also have a char log. But that was our original product. That's our flagship product. And I think for some of the folks there, it is available in Australia in some locations.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Joe. It's been wonderful talking today.
Thank you.
This is Tuffy Stone, and you're listening to Smoking Hot Confessions.
Make no mistake, beef is king. Ask any competitor on the circuit, and the trophy they want most of all is the brisket. And you won't find better brisket than Black Angus Reserve. Black Angus Reserve is the leading brisket brand in Australia, and it's easy to see why. It's verified Black Angus, which has been grain-fed for a minimum of 150 days, with a deliciously high marbling content. These briskets are so good that Black Angus Reserve are willing to put their money where their mouth is. They sponsor multiple Grand Champion winning team Manning Valley Natural Smokers, who've won many trophies using their briskets. Not just that, but Manning Valley took these briskets to the World's Barbecue Championships in Houston and took out second place in the world. To get yours, hit up their Black Angus Reserve page on Facebook now.
Okay, so this is Saffron at the Houston Livestock and Rodeo Barbecue, and I'm with Robert Sierra from S&S Pit Crew. Hey, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Saffron?
Great. So let's explain to people who you are, who haven't heard from you in Australia.
I am Robert Sierra. I'm the pit boss for the S&S Pit Crew out of San Marcos, Texas.
Okay, and how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this since like 2005.
Okay, I'm just doing the math in my head. That's like 10 years?
Okay, yes, 2003.
2003.
12 years. So yeah, 14 years, somewhere in there.
And you've had a pretty good run with this, haven't you?
I've had a pretty good run. Yeah, it's been good. Barbecuing it has opened so many doors for me. It's been such a blessing. Met a lot of wonderful people out here cooking and stuff. So, like you, for instance, and
thank you.
Meet people from all over around the world, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, and I've heard you've got some interesting experience on TV shows as well. Perhaps you can pick a couple of those and tell us about it.
Yeah, I've done a few TV shows. I've been on a national commercial for Heinz. I'm a brand ambassador for Heinz. I got a barbecue sauce on the shelf, which is Heinz Texas Bold and Spicy in the United States. I've been on Jimmy Kimmel Live. I've been with Danielle Diva Q from Canada. I've been on her show. It was a barbecue crawl. I was on episode 1 and 2. Season 1 and 2 in a couple of episodes. And then we've done a couple others. I can't remember right now. It slips my mind for some reason.
Because you're always out there having so much fun. So what was Jimmy Kimmel like?
Jimmy Kimmel was great. Him and Guillermo, it was a great time. It was an awesome experience. I really enjoyed going to the studio and doing a little bit with him and just meeting him. And it was great. He's a great person. And he's a big fan of barbecue, so...
Yeah?
He don't just like talk about him. He likes to cook and all that. So he's a barbecue fan himself.
Well, that always makes things easier when people know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we're at one of the biggest barbecue competitions right now in Houston.
Yes.
But the thing I love about Texas barbecue is all of the smaller competitions. Do you want to tell people a little bit about one of your local ones or one of your favorite smaller competitions?
Well, one of my favorite local ones would be the ACCO in Lockhart, Texas. It started in San Marcos, but it outgrew the venue there, so they moved it up to Lockhart, and that's one of my favorite cook-offs. That's like I feel I'm a charter member there. So we started the first one like 11 cooks, I think, and now they're anywhere from 150 to 180. So it's a good cook-off.
So your favorite small one's got 150 teams.
Yeah, well, it was small at one time, and it's still my favorite. It's a good cook-off.
Oh, that's good that such a big event still got like that home sort of feeling.
I mean, it's just a testament to the people that run it. Ranger on the Zoo and his group, they do a great job. I mean, it just keeps growing and growing. So, and it's fun. It's a cook's cook. They cater to the cooks, and it's just wonderful cook to be at.
Oh, that's great. So who are you cooking with at this competition?
This weekend, I was honored to be invited to cook with my good friend Ronnie Killen. We're cooking for his dad. Well, we're cooking for his dad is Jerry Killen Cookers, JK Cookers, and he asked me if I could come help him cook, and I was like, sure, So we're here. We're cooking for a Go Texan team, Gonzales County, and I'll be doing the chicken and then just kind of helping on whatever else he wants me to help with, and excited to be here and glad to be cooking here at Houston Rodeo again.
So is chicken your favorite competition meat?
Well, brisket's my favorite, but chicken's just been hot for me right now. So, I'll do what's winning right now. So.
Oh, that's a good plan.
So, chicken.
So when you're not competing and doing like the standard cooks, what do you like to put on your smoker then?
Well, when I'm not competing, I like to cook chuck rolls, or I like to smoke some gizzards. Just whatever, some oddball stuff besides brisket, ribs, and chicken, so do some steaks and stuff.
That's awesome. So do you have any other exciting plans coming up for the year in barbecue?
Well, we plan to go to the NBBQA in Fort Worth soon, coming up in a couple of weeks, or a month, or actually 3 weeks or something. Other than that, I've been working on some stuff, been blessed getting some new sponsors right now, Right now, I cook on some pellet cookers, which are Green Mountain grills, and I love cooking on them. And a char griller just came on board. They got a real nice Kamado cooker, and I like to use that. And then when I do a big cook, I use my Moberg smoker. And then, of course, I like to wear my Anderson Bean boots and my Texas Hatter hat. So, it's a fun thing to do. I love doing it.
Yeah, I think I've seen a few Facebook posts on those boots, haven't I?
Yeah, it's a good thing. I love them. They're comfortable, especially out here on this asphalt in Houston, and you got to walk like miles and miles and miles. I don't feel a thing with these boots. These Anderson boots are real comfortable. Anderson Bean, should I say.
Yeah. So if you want to see some wonderful photos of Robert Sierra's boots or anything else and keep track of what he's up to, you should check out his Facebook page.
Yeah, you can follow us on Facebook at SS Pit Crew, or my personal page, Robert Sierra. Find us on Instagram at SS Pit Crew, and Twitter and Snapchat, SS Pit Crew.
Oh, the Snapchat.
Every now and then I Snapchat because everybody else is doing it, but why not?
You'll have to teach me how on that one.
Yeah, well, I was just getting the hang of it, and then they changed the whole system again. Now I was like, I can't figure it out, so I'm just going to wait up on it or something. I'll let my little girl show me how to do it.
Yeah, that's a good tip. I'll check out with my kids as well. So I've just been finishing things out. If anyone has like a personal story of a moment in barbecue that they wanted to share, something that reminds them about barbecue family, or why we do this to ourselves over and over again.
Yeah. Okay, what was that again? I'm sorry.
Do you have a favorite story on barbecue?
Man, there's so many. It'd be hard to think of one right quick. It should be a favorite, so it should come to mind. Hold on. I got a favorite coming up, choking up. This weekend's a great weekend for me, actually. This would be my favorite story. Well, I should have said San Antonio. That was a good story. But this here is a good one. We're cooking with the Killen family. Our good friend Jerry, he just passed away, and so this is for Jerry. We're cooking for him, and it's just it's going to be a good time.
Alrighty then. Well, thank you so much for talking to me today, and all the best of luck, and hopefully I see you up on the stage.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Saffron. I enjoyed talking to you, and good seeing you again.
Okay then. Catch you later.
Bye-bye.
You're listening to the internationally awarded Smoking Hot Confessions podcast. It's sacrilegious.
Buying an outdoor cooker can be confusing. Something for low and slow, something for roasting, a pizza oven. What about baking? The JAGRD Woodfired smoker does all of these things. The question is, how? Firstly, the entire smoker is fully insulated. The firebox is insulated with kiln-grade bricks, and there are more on the cooking chamber floor, doubling as a pizza stone. The cooking chamber is then insulated with a 6cm or 2.5-inch insulation blanket, and the whole thing is made from double-walled 6mm steel. This means that the JAGRD can get up to 600 degrees Fahrenheit in under 30 minutes, sit at low and slow temperatures using very little fuel, and will even sit well under 200 degrees Fahrenheit for cold smoking. Founded in 2014, JAGRD is proudly Australian owned and manufactured, based in Western Australia, and ships all across the country. Head on over to jagrdwoodfired.com.au, spelled JAGRD, to learn more.
Hi, it's Saffron here from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Barbecue Competition, and I'm with Ronnie Killen. Hi, Ronnie. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you very much.
So let's just get a quick introduction from yourself on who you are for people who aren't familiar with you.
Let's see. It's kind of funny because I'm a barbecue guy, or known for barbecue, but I'm a classic trained chef. I traveled all over, cooked for many, many people, but I just love cooking barbecue and food, and that's about it.
So like classically French trained, I believe.
Yes, I went to Cordon Bleu.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So now you've moved over to barbecue. You obviously Killen's Barbecue, which is doing very well.
Yes, Killen's Barbecue. Then I have a steakhouse, Killen's Steakhouse, Killen's Burgers, Killen's STQ, and what other? I have 4 restaurants altogether.
It's hard to keep track of the 4 restaurants.
So 4 restaurants, and then I have stuff in the stadium at Energy, which I've got a bunch of people that want to take trips or take a tour in Energy Stadium tonight. So we'll be doing that in a little bit.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
So I've heard you've had a pretty good week so far. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, it kind of started off last Thursday. I got a text about the James Beard nomination, which is pretty big. I'm happy about that, and then that was probably the highlight. And then we went. This week has been really crazy. I guess it was Sunday. We were in the Houston Rodeo, their first event to start the rodeo. It's called a Best Bites competition, and we entered 3 categories and actually won all 3 categories with dessert, our entree, and the People's Choice. And then Monday morning, my PR person goes, "Hey, are you ready for some more good news?" And I'm like going, "Are you talking about the Best Bites or what?" And we were number 4 restaurant in Texas Monthly, their best new restaurant. So STQ finished number 4, and we were like the number 2 Houston restaurant.
Oh, so, wow, that's amazing. That's pretty good, big deal.
But we still have one more thing, which is going to be tomorrow. And tomorrow is going to be the other thing that I'm focused on, and I'm really excited about. I'm cooking under my father's name at the rodeo. So.
So your family's got a pretty long history with the Houston Rodeo.
Oh yeah, my father, he started the second year that they actually started the cook-off. So he's been cooking in the cook-off for over 30 years, and he passed away about 4.5 months ago. And his team was doing the Go Texan, and I actually went down there, helped him, cooked him, we won it. So that's what we're representing, the Gonzales Go Texan here, and so it has kind of a different meaning, what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And I said the focus is there because I'm representing my dad's name. So
yeah, that makes it pretty special, representing your dad.
Absolutely. I'm just, I've been practicing, and when I went to San Antonio, we didn't do very well, but it wasn't really, to me, against other competitors. To me, that was just seeing where I'm at and what I needed to adjust on what I thought was going to be good. And but we have it honed in, and everything's tasting good. And Houston, I've done well in Houston. Last year I was 4th place brisket and 10th overall out of 426 turn-ins. So in the year before I was basically 3rd and 11th overall. So I know what brisket, what they like here in Houston. So, and brisket is always the big meat. So, but our pork and our ribs and our chicken is it's gonna be, it's gonna be on point.
That's
hopefully,
good.
Hopefully.
Sounding pretty confident. So, in that last little bit, you mentioned about representing Gonzales, the Go County team. For people not familiar with Houston Rodeo, can you explain the Go County and how that works?
Well, it's like Gonzales County. It's like a Go Texan deal. What they do is all the different counties have events to raise money for scholarships and stuff. And Gonzales is where my father was from. I have a ranch there, and my mother is from that area also. So it goes back for a long time for me, and to represent the county and basically city that my father was from. It's big for me to have won that, and we just the whole Go Texan deal is just. It's scholarships for kids that are in the FFA, and they donate. Basically, they donate all the money that they get for kids and scholarships and stuff. So, to me, to be a part of that too. I mean, we just had an auction probably about 2 months ago, and I spent a lot of money on auction items because I love auctions, and so this rodeo would be a lot of fun because a lot of auction items.
That's wonderful. I mean, I think that personally, it's a really special part of Houston rodeos. We hear a lot of teams that are here over and over again, but they forget the Go Texan teams. They qualify each year to get here, and they have a big turnover. Yeah.
Because they're different every year. I mean, you have every year there's a different team coming in, and for us, my dad has been a part of the Gonzales Go Texan team for 30 plus years, but it's never been his name. It's never been him. He's always been, a helper. He's always been a part of the team and everything, because that's where he went to high school. He went to high school in Gonzales, Texas. So, to represent his name for the first time, he's not here. I mean, it's really special for us, and our focus is I don't even know how to explain it, because coming in second will be a letdown, just because it's for my dad.
It's for your dad. Well, thank you so much for talking with us today, and I really hope that tomorrow comes together for you.
Well, thank you very much. And it's it could just be the icing on the cake for the week that I've had and everything. And I'm positive because we have good product, and the way I look at it is it's up to us to mess it up.
That's true. That is a good advice.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, family, thanks for stopping by. I'm sure you learned as much here as I did. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. And until next time, take care of each other and keep on queuing.
Thanks for listening to the Smoking Hot Confessions podcast. Head on over to smokinghotconfessions.com for recipes, tips, and Ben's own confessions.